There's a question a lot of older adults ask themselves, quietly, and almost never say out loud. Do I still matter to anyone? Not am I loved, that's a different question. Do I still matter? Am I still useful? Still needed? Still someone whose absence would actually change anything? And here's the uncomfortable part, this feeling doesn't usually show up as a single dramatic moment. It shows up slowly. The job that gave you a title disappears into retirement. The kids stop needing daily help. Your body can't do what it used to do without paying for it the next day. And one day you notice, nobody asked your opinion on anything this week. Nobody needed you for anything. And a quiet thought creeps in. Maybe I'm not useful anymore. That thought is more dangerous than people realize. And today we're going to talk about why it happens, what the research actually says about it, and what genuinely helps. Why this isn't just feeling sad. Feeling worthless isn't the same as feeling sad, and it isn't the same as being lonely, even though the three often travel together. Loneliness is about connection. Do I have people around me? Worthlessness is about contribution. Am I needed by the people around me? You can be surrounded by family and still feel worthless if nobody actually relies on you for anything anymore. Psychologist Gordon Flett, who has spent years studying what he calls mattering, found something important here. People who feel both lonely and unimportant are significantly more likely to experience depression and hopelessness than people dealing with just one of those feelings alone. In other words, loneliness hurts. But loneliness plus feeling unnecessary is a much heavier weight to carry. And this isn't a small, soft finding either. A large national study following older adults in China over several years found something striking. People who consistently felt useless as they aged had an 80% higher risk of death over the study period compared to those who didn't feel that way, even after accounting for their physical health. Let that sit for a second. Feeling unnecessary isn't just emotionally painful. The body seems to take it seriously too. Where this feeling actually comes from. So where does this come from? It's not really about age itself. It's about role loss. Think about how much of your identity, for most of your adult life, was tied to being needed by someone. Needed at work. Needed by your kids, when they were young. Needed by a partner, a household, a community. Every one of those roles gave you daily, tangible proof that you mattered. Someone asked for your help, your opinion, your presence. And then, often within a fairly short window of years, several of those roles disappear at once. Retirement. Kids grown and independent. A spouse who passes, or friends who move away or pass first. The roles go quiet. But the part of you that needed to feel needed doesn't just retire along with them. There's also something else working against you here, and it's worth naming directly: ageism, including the version we do to ourselves. Researchers call it internalized ageism, when someone starts believing the cultural message that older people become less capable, less relevant, less valuable. And here's the part that matters most. People who internalize that belief show measurably worse mental health outcomes, more anxiety, more depressive symptoms, than people who actively push back against it. Believing the stereotype makes it more true for you. Rejecting it is protective. So this feeling isn't a character flaw, and it isn't proof of anything real about your worth. It's what happens when your roles change faster than your sense of self does, with a culture whispering unhelpful things in the background. What actually helps? Here's the part that matters most. This is not a feeling you have to just accept and live with. There's real, evidence-based ground here. 1. Find a role that needs you, not just an activity that fills time. This is the most important distinction in this entire video. A hobby occupies your hours. A role makes someone else's life measurably better because you're in it. That could be a grandchild who calls you specifically for help with something. A neighbor who counts on you. Volunteering somewhere that would genuinely be short-staffed without you. Mentoring someone younger in a skill you spent decades building. The test isn't am I doing something. It's would someone actually notice if I stopped. 2. Challenge the useless thought directly, out loud, with evidence. When that thought shows up, I'm not needed anymore, don't just sit with it. Argue with it, the way you'd argue with an unfair accusation from someone else. Ask yourself, what's the actual evidence for this? And what's the evidence against it? Who has asked me for something this month? What do I know how to do that most people around me don't? This isn't about forcing false positivity. It's about noticing that I feel useless and I am useless are two very different claims, and only one of them is usually true. 3. Say it out loud to someone. This one is simple and most people skip it. Tell someone, a friend, a family member, even a doctor, I've been feeling like I don't matter to anyone lately. Saying it does two things. It breaks the isolation the feeling thrives in. And more often than people expect, it's met with real surprise, because the people around you usually don't see you the way you're currently seeing yourself. The bigger reframe. Here's what's worth remembering as we close. Your worth was never actually supposed to come from a job title, or from being needed every single day the exact way you once were. But your brain doesn't know that automatically. It learned, over decades, to measure your value by how much you were needed. And when that measurement stick gets taken away, it doesn't disappear. It just starts reporting the wrong number. The goal isn't to convince yourself that mattering doesn't matter. It's to find new, real, honest ways to matter, and to stop mistaking a quiet season for a worthless one. Because somebody, right now, could genuinely use exactly what you have to offer. Sometimes the only thing missing is you deciding to show up and offer it.